Hi folks, how you doing? So it's the end of May. It is the 1st of June tomorrow, and I'm down the plot just ticking off a few jobs. It's been an interesting month actually down the allotment, and that's even without when we get into the weather and stuff. I've had another allotment nightmare, which I almost ranted about in the moment about a week ago, but I held off and I calmed down before I made this video. But yeah, I've had another incident of creosote or weird chemical use down the allotment, which is really annoying because if you know, over the years I've tried to get the rules changed to bring them up to modern standards, because obviously people here used to use pesticides and slug pellets and creosote all the time, and tried speaking to the council to get that stopped, through like proper channels, and thought it had worked basically. Thought we'd got there, the council had changed the rules slightly, done a few things I still don't agree with, but baby steps, we got there. But the creosote use and the chemical use has continued, even though it's mentioned in the rules now. And the other day I came down here and there was a load of oily, greasy stuff on the grass. And I was actually walking through with my trolley thing and I was pulling it, and I saw the big patch of oily thing, and I saw a couple of lumps about that big, which I stayed well clear of. But what I hadn't noticed is whoever was painting on the communal area had splattered paint, and there was little lumps everywhere in the grass and stuff. So by the time I got down to my plot, I noticed that on my trainers there was like a greasy substance, and I touched it with my hand. I could smell it. It was a chemically based oil substance. I washed it off as best as I could down here, but we've only got cold water. We've got no facilities down here, no toilets or anything. And then a bit later on, I actually scratched my hand on a piece of wood, and then hand went all red. So I had to go to, I went to the council offices. I reported it as an incident to say that I'd basically been exposed to this unknown substance that the person has got in a bucket, a tub behind their shed. I said that obviously that is this going to continue? But actually, I was very angry. I was very angry. But it gets worse. So I used to run the allotment Facebook page that I created so everyone could talk, and nothing really happened there. No one was really interested in it. And eventually, after the council cut down the wildflowers, 2 weeks after they told me they were going to keep them, I closed the Facebook page down and said there was no point doing it, because I'm trying to do things here and make a nice site and get people involved, and you're just going against me because you're listening to a couple of people, and then it makes me look an absolute fool. So I closed that down. Anyway, unbeknownst to me, someone else had created a WhatsApp group for the allotment, and I got added to it last year. And I'd never really posted in it anything. I had never posted anything negative in the WhatsApp group ever. I'd mentioned, I think we've been broken in, so everyone knew to check the sheds, things like that. Someone asked about some of their hose pipe had been stolen, and I said to them, I've got a spare, I'll leave it on my sink. Anyway, so the first ever negative thing I put in this WhatsApp group, I put that got down to the plot this morning, and I thought it was an absolute disgrace how someone's used oil and creosote in the communal area. And basically I was just a pile-on. One of the new plot holders, who I haven't known very long, who doesn't know the situation down here but is now obviously part of the little clique we've got going down here, basically wailed on me, said, laugh out loud emojis, you should watch where you're going and all that kind of stuff, and just that like toxic Facebook bullshit that you get nowadays from people. When you put up something serious, like you see it on Facebook, don't you? There's a cat being killed, on the road, and someone puts a laugh out loud emoji because they think they're fucking big and clever. Well, yeah, I got those. So yeah, and then I basically got other people piling on saying they're leaving the group because of me. Again, no one has an issue down here with a cancer-causing chemical being sprayed on the communal area, but they have an issue with me saying that a cancer-causing chemical shouldn't be sprayed on the communal area. It's a bit strange, isn't it, for 2023? It just shows the level of intelligence of your average person. And do you know what? I don't really care about saying it if I'm going to offend people anymore, because do you know why I don't care about offending people down here anymore? Because after that, I post on the page, and these people aren't, these are 40-year-old, 50-year-old odd people, these are acting like primary school children. So they kicked me out of the WhatsApp group, and then I got a really snotty message from one of the people. When you get a message that starts off nice but it's a backhanded compliment? I basically got one of them. It involved name calling and stuff, and they basically, I think you're a lovely chap, but, and then I got called Scrappy Doo, which I thought was a bit, everyone knows what the Scrappy Doo reference is to. It's a bit, it's fucking bullying, in it, at the end of the day. So I've never called anyone a name down here. I've I've said people are wrong. I've said people that what they've done is disgusting, but I've never resorted to name calling or personal insults like that. You know, sending someone a text, an unsolicited text at that as well. They had no right to. It was nothing to do with them. And I just thought it was incredibly horrible. But then since then, I've been coming down here, and I've got there's a couple of people left that still speak to me, but there's been 4 people now who I would have considered friends 2 months ago, who when I've walked past them in the mornings and I've said, "Morning, how you doing?" they've literally turned the other way and they've not said a word. So yeah, it's pretty fucking disgusting down here at the moment on Donington Allotments in Telford. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And I put a tweet out about this, and I said the only things that I want down here is to stop people spraying weed killer in the communal areas and on other people's plots, because that goes on. Stop the creosote use, because obviously it's illegal and it shouldn't be going on, and obviously it shouldn't be going on in the communal area. And by the way, these are all things that are in our allotment rules that the council never look into. I'd like to have more wildflowers in the communal area, but that seems to really offend people. That does really offend people, which is really odd, because there's quite a few plots on this site that no one ever comes down and does anything with, and they've been overgrown now for ages. But because I imagine the council like the people with the plots or whatever, that's fine, and they're allowed to go overgrown, and it's not an issue. But if you have some dog daisies or some, you know, yarrow or something in the communal area, then, you know, oh my god, it's the last days of Rome and the whole world's ending. It's just a bizarre place at the moment. And to be fair, it's not a very nice place to come down to again. And it's really sad, because I thought we'd broke the back on this, and I thought, you know, 2-3 years ago we'd got over the worst of it, and we haven't. You haven't. It's still a very toxic place, quite literally a very toxic place. But yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with. So that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't posted as much. I've actually been talking to my other allotment site person, and I was chatting to them, and I was talking to them about the rules, because my other allotment site, it's run really well, and I know if you went and used creosote down there, you'd be kicked off in a matter of minutes. Do you know what I mean? You'd be gone. And they were just telling me, like, as a professional, obviously, as somebody who runs another site, just how bad it was down here, and how they couldn't believe the stuff I have to deal with. And it's one of the reasons why I post these videos. A lot of people will say, like, Ross, what, you know, posting these videos again, they're a bit negative, but you have to do it so people know that what, like, environmentalists, let's say, like myself, have to go through. It's bizarre. It really is bizarre. And I always reach out back to this, because I can't believe that we're still going out. 2023 we are, 2023, and we've known about chemical uses and biodiversity issues in this country now for at least 40 years. And in 2023 we're still having to fight to, like, get people to garden a little bit more sustainably. It's sad, really. It really is sad, and it's the way people jump on you. For instance, I was in one message, I was told that I'm too political because I want to stop the use of creosote down here, and that's obviously a reference because I stood for local councillor, and I stood for local councillor because I wanted people in the area to know that what goes on. If I struggle to keep an allotment site on track following the rules, which is a private locked away area with only 20 odd people on it, you imagine what the council are like out in the public when they can get away with stuff when no one's watching. I've just seen it today up there on the car park. There's some dead bees, and you can see where they've sprayed the edges of the verge with obviously Roundup to kill the weeds, and you just think, wow, nature's on its arse, and then when it goes, it takes us with us. And yet just asking people to use less chemicals and grow some wildflowers makes you an absolute pariah. And I know there's going to be people that probably will pile on the comments or something and say, like, oh, well, it's the way you go about it, and it's not the way I go about it at all. I'm sick and tired of dealing with idiots. I am fed up, and I've got no time for idiots, none whatsoever. And like with the creosote issue, that's not me having to go at someone that's used creosote on their own plot either. This is someone that thought it was okay to lay wood on a communal area where everyone walks and paint creosote on the grass, leaving it so it was a mess to go through. I mean, now I know for a fact if I did that, God, in the past, when I've spilt bark or even compost on the grass, oh my days, the grief you get for spilling a bit of horse manure on the grass down this allotment, it's like, oh my god, it's like you've ripped up the lawn and you've put concrete down. Actually, saying that, I think some of the people down here would probably like to rip up all the plants and put concrete down. But yeah, no problem with chemicals all over the grass that people, children and dogs have got to walk through. But all the problem in the world with me because I think people should follow the rules. It's just bizarre, isn't it? Sometimes I think I'm in like some kind of strange, weird parallel universe. I really do. I just can't believe. These are supposed to be intelligent people. These are people with good jobs. These are champions of their industry and all the rest of it, and it's just a bit bizarre. So that's what I've been dealing with for a bit. So I haven't really wanted to post down here as much, to be fair, because it's all a bit sad again. But anyway, I've complained again to the council. We've got new councillors now. We've got Labour councillors. I've complained to them because also I believe the allotment down here is being mismanaged. I mean, there's certain jobs that have never been done in 6-7 years. There's padlocks from water taps that have been missing for years now that have never been replaced. And I know some of you might not think that's a problem, not having the taps locked, but at least 2 occasions someone's come down here over the last 4 or 5 years and they've plugged in hose pipes and they've turned them on and they've flooded people's sites. My plot got flooded once, and somebody else had a hose pipe left on up there about 3-4 years ago. I don't think that person's gone now. So the council not replacing padlocks has led to at least 2 or 3 incidences of people turning the water on and then wasting water, which again, people may think, wasting water, but it's water that the council have got to pay for, or because the people at the council don't do their job properly and look after the allotments. So, I mean, if it was me, and I've gone over this before, I don't know why the allotments aren't being checked on a regular basis. I don't know why spring, summer, autumn, winter, someone from the council isn't coming down here and just having a quick look around, checking things over, making a list of what needs doing, and then sorting it out. But it doesn't get done, so you have to ask yourself what's actually going on. Are the allotments actually managed at all? And it's the same with the rule breaking. It's my belief now that because the council don't act on the rule breaking, I mean they've not acted on any of. I mean, I've been physically threatened down here, and it was never acted on. The person who threatened me still got a plot, and I believe that because the council don't act on the complaints, and serious complaint. We're not talking little things. We're talking rule breakings, threats, animal deaths, poisonings, things like that. Because the council haven't acted on those, it's now bred in a culture of, we can break the rules because we're the favourites, and that definitely goes on now. 100% sure about this now. There's certain people down here that basically think, well, it's my allotment, I can do what I want, and they basically ignore the rules and they laugh about it. I've heard some of them in the past when I was talking to them joke about breaking the rules and stuff, because they know that the person at the council who's in charge doesn't do anything. Obviously. It's systemic, isn't it? It's a cultural thing, and it goes right the way through, and it stems from the person mismanaging the allotments, which is sad, really, because as I said to the Labour councillors, what's going to happen is that eventually the good growers will disappear, and we have lost a couple for different reasons. I'm not just saying it is down to the culture down here, but there's some people that have said, I'm weighing it up, this, that, and the other, and the culture down here hasn't helped. It's been another tick in the cons box for the allotments. And so what will happen is, over time, the allotments will get run down, as they're getting run down now, because jobs aren't being done when they're reported. And eventually they'll decide that, the allotments are beyond economical repair. That's normally what councils come up with. And then before you know it, they'll want to put, 8-9 houses on here, won't they? Because that's what happens. This allotment isn't very old at all. I think it's about 13 years old, and I've been here for about 9 of them. No, I've been about 8 of them maybe. And I think it was... before then it was just an old playing field in the corner of an old playing field, and it was secured with a lottery grant, and they've put some fencing around and this, that and the other. But you know what councils are like. The good people will disappear off the plot because they'll get fed up of it. The bad people will misuse it. They'll get tyres, carpet, whatever down here, and they'll destroy the place. And then once the place is destroyed, the council will go, well, it can't really be allotments anymore because it's contaminated, it's polluted, there's creosote, there's tyres, there's carpet. So the best thing we can do now is just bulldoze it and put houses there. And that's probably what will happen in about 20 years if the allotment keeps going the way it's going. I think that's really sad. I mean, I'm 39 years old, and I like to think that when I'm dead or gone, in 40 years' time, let's say, you know, that somebody else will have my plot, maybe look back on YouTube videos and think, wow, this allotment's been going for 40 years and all this kind of thing. And, you know, in 100 years, in 200 years, I'd love this allotment to still be here. I really would. I really would. I feel quite emotional about it, to be fair. I really do. Because it's a beautiful part of the world. It really is a beautiful part of the world. And it's just not being looked after. And it's sad. It's very sad, in fact. And it's very sad that just trying to save a place like this is so hard. So hard. Right, folks. Onwards and upwards.